Within the towering walls of the Crimson Citadel, Queen Morganna strides through shadowed halls, lined with ancient portraits, each gaze heavy with the burden of blood magic passed down through her lineage. A pale dawn filters through the stained glass windows, casting crimson light that splashes across the stone floors, an eerie reminder of the power her ancestors wielded. Yet, beneath her regal composure, a secret weighs upon her, a legacy her blood alone cannot escape. Whispers from the shadows seem to echo her every step, as if the citadel itself remembers her forebears' darkest deeds, binding her to a fate she has yet to fully comprehend. The kingdom thrives on the sacrifices made within these walls, and Morganna bears the knowledge that each offering binds her closer to an inheritance older than memory. Her subjects see only a young, resolute queen, but she knows that survival in this treacherous world demands something deeper, a strength forged not just by blood but by secrets buried far from the court's prying eyes. Each step through the citadel takes her nearer to the throne room, where the air thickens with expectation, the court eager to glimpse their queen. The ancient magic is almost tangible here, a force that pulses through the stones, feeding on the lives it demands to maintain the kingdom's prosperity. As she enters the throne room, Morganna meets the gaze of Taryn, her most loyal confidant standing stoic by her side. Taryn's presence is a rare comfort in this place of veiled threats, her unwavering loyalty shielding Morganna from the darker shadows of court intrigue. Together, they face the nobles and advisors who bend their knees before her, their gestures respectful, yet laced with ulterior motives. Each word exchanged in this room is a calculation, a move on the chessboard of power where alliances shift with the tides of blood. In this court, no ally can be trusted completely, and no enemy should be underestimated. The grand hall falls silent as Morganna takes her seat upon the blood throne, an imposing relic carved from dark stone, veined with glimmers of deep crimson that seem to pulse as if alive. Legends claim that the throne was built with the magic of the first queen, her blood infused into the stone to bind her descendants to the kingdom's fate. As Morganna's fingers brush the throne's cold surface, she feels an ominous connection, a pull that tightens with every sacrifice made in the kingdom's name. It is a reminder that the power she wields comes at a price, one that her ancestors paid with their lives and souls. Just as Morganna begins to settle, a distant tremor reverberates through the walls, unsettling the silence. The court shifts uneasily as murmurs ripple across the hall, and Morganna catches Taryn's narrowed gaze. They have heard of disturbances within the depths of the citadel before, but this one feels different, more insistent, as if something long dormant were stirring. Morganna's heart pounds with a mix of fear and anticipation, sensing that this tremor could be the harbinger of a truth buried deep within her lineage. One glance at Taryn confirms her suspicion. They may be closer than ever to uncovering the ancient legacy hidden in the blood-soaked history of the Crimson Citadel. In the days following the tremor, Morganna's nights are filled with unsettling dreams. She sees visions of her ancestors, queens draped in blood-stained robes, performing ancient rites within the citadel's darkened chambers. These dreams cling to her, unsettling her during her waking hours, as she recalls faint whispers of warnings passed down through generations. Driven by a desire to understand these portents, Morganna calls upon Taryn, confiding in her only trusted advisor. Together they resolve to explore the hidden depths of the citadel, where legends say the secrets of their lineage lie. Descending into the underbelly of the citadel, Morganna and Taryn step into a shadowy labyrinth that has been untouched for centuries. The walls are cold, damp, and lined with faded inscriptions that glow faintly when Morganna's blood-bound magic stirs. Each step forward heightens the sense of dread in Morganna's chest, as her ancestral connection to this place grows more palpable. A dim light flickers at the end of the corridor, drawing them closer to a door sealed with ancient symbols, a gateway to her family's most guarded secrets. Taryn's gaze remains steady, her loyalty unwavering as they press onward, but Morganna cannot shake the feeling that they are trespassing on forbidden ground. Behind the sealed door lies the Vault of Bloodlines, a chamber rumored to hold records of every sacrifice made for the kingdom's prosperity. Rows of ancient tomes and scrolls fill the space, preserved by magic and bearing the names of those who paid the ultimate price to fuel the Citadel's power. As Morganna examines the records, her pulse quickens with the realization that her lineage has hidden far more than mere sacrifices. She uncovers passages that suggest a deeper, darker purpose behind each ritual, as if her ancestors were bound by a pact far older than the kingdom itself. Taryn's voice breaks the silence, warning her of the danger in digging too deeply into forbidden knowledge. Ignoring Taryn's warning, Morganna delves further into the records, uncovering a hidden ledger marked with a strange, twisted seal, a symbol she recognizes from her childhood nightmares. Her hands tremble as she reads the names recorded within, some belonging to members of her family thought to have died of natural causes. It becomes clear that these deaths were orchestrated sacrifices, each one binding the surviving bloodline more tightly to the Citadel's power. A sense of betrayal overwhelms her, and she realizes that the very magic she wields is laced with the suffering of her kin, their lives taken to secure the throne she now sits upon. Just as Morganna closes the ledger, a sudden suffocating presence fills the chamber, and the torches lining the walls flare with crimson light. Shadows swirl and coalesce, forming the spectral figure of an ancestor, an ancient queen whose blood-bound curse permeates the citadel. Her hollow eyes meet Morganna's, and she speaks in a voice that reverberates with the weight of centuries. "You cannot escape the debt owed by our blood." Morganna feels the burden of her legacy like never before, the weight of countless sacrifices pressing upon her. With Taryn's help, she retreats from the vault, but her resolve hardens. She knows now that breaking free from this cursed lineage may come at a cost she's yet to understand. Determined to break free from her ancestors' grip, Morganna searches the ancient tomes she found in the Vault of Bloodlines, seeking a way to sever her ties to the blood magic that binds her to the throne. Yet, as she pores over the forbidden texts, an intense headache grips her, as if the very magic she commands is retaliating. Visions blur her sight, and she sees scenes of her ancestors, each one committing the same blood-drenched rituals to sustain the power of the Crimson Citadel. The oppressive weight of the curse presses down on her, a reminder that blood sacrifice is woven into the kingdom's foundation, and severing that bond could unravel everything. As Morganna attempts to shake off the dark visions, Taryn arrives, bearing troubling news from the kingdom. Rebellions are stirring at the borders, led by noble families who see Morganna's desire to change the ancient ways as a threat to their own power. The people, too, have begun to doubt her, fearing the kingdom's prosperity is waning without the usual blood rituals. Morganna feels torn. Every path seems to demand sacrifice, and she wonders if the throne's curse has cornered her into a fate she cannot escape. She knows she must act quickly, or risk losing both her kingdom and herself to the darkness that shadows every step. In desperation, Morganna and Taryn descend once more into the vault, seeking an ancient artifact rumored to grant its wielder control over the blood magic, but at a great cost. The artifact, hidden deep within the Citadel's oldest crypt, is revealed to be a bloodstone amulet, pulsing with a dark energy that feels both familiar and repellent. As Morganna holds it, she senses its raw, immense power, and a memory rises unbidden. Stories of her ancestor who forged a pact with a dark force to bind their lineage to the kingdom's magic. She realizes that this amulet may be her only chance to alter her fate, though wielding it could risk her very soul. Just as Morganna prepares to don the bloodstone amulet, a figure emerges from the shadows, her ancestor, the ancient queen whose curse binds the throne. Her spectral form is both regal and ghastly, her face etched with centuries of bitterness and sacrifice. She warns Morganna of the amulet's price, revealing that once it is worn, it binds its user entirely to the Citadel, feeding on their bloodline to sustain the kingdom's magic forever. Morganna's heart races, torn between the horror of becoming another cursed ruler and the resolve to free her kingdom from its cycle of bloodshed. Her ancestor's hollow gaze seems to dare her, as if taunting Morganna to accept her inevitable destiny. In a moment of defiance, Morganna dons the amulet, feeling its power surge through her veins, searing her blood and soul alike. The chamber quakes and the shadows seem to coil around her, whispering words of loyalty and fear from her subjects. Taryn watches in awe and terror as Morganna's form begins to shift, the amulet binding her to the citadel in ways she cannot undo. Morganna's final act of will forces the blood magic outward, casting a powerful spell to loosen the citadel's grip over her bloodline. As the shadows dissipate, she senses she has both claimed the throne's power and irrevocably tied herself to its curse, a fate she alone will bear to protect her people. Emerging from the crypt, Morganna feels the bloodstone amulet's weight against her chest, pulsing in time with her heartbeat, as if it's become a part of her. She senses the power coursing through her veins, amplifying her connection to the citadel and the blood magic she'd hoped to escape. Yet with this newfound strength, Morganna also feels the tightening grip of the curse, an invisible tether binding her every step to the throne's relentless demands. Taryn watches her with a mix of awe and sorrow, silently acknowledging the price Morganna has paid to secure the kingdom's future. Back in the throne room, Morganna faces the court, her presence transformed by the amulet's dark aura. Her advisors and nobles regard her with a wary respect, sensing the profound change in their queen. Morganna's gaze sweeps across the room, landing on those who doubted her ability to protect the kingdom without the blood sacrifices. Now, with the amulet's power coursing through her, Morganna is determined to root out betrayal and strengthen her rule. Yet as she speaks, her voice carries an edge unfamiliar to even herself, as if her ancestor's will lingers within her words, compelling obedience. Taryn approaches Morganna in private, her loyalty unwavering, but her expression deeply troubled. She questions whether this path will truly bring freedom from the blood magic, or simply deepen the kingdom's bondage to it. Morganna, weighed down by the choices she has made, confesses her fears of becoming no different from the queens before her, bound to a curse that will claim her as it did her ancestors. Yet she knows that abandoning the amulet now would risk everything she's fought to protect. Taryn's silence is a painful reminder of the isolation Morganna feels, a loneliness only the burdened of her lineage can understand. Days pass, and the kingdom seems to thrive once more under Morganna's strengthened rule, but subtle signs of the curse's hold begin to surface. She notices the growing toll it takes on her. Visions of her ancestor haunt her nights, and her strength wanes as the bloodstone siphons her vitality. Her people are safe, her power secure, but Morganna feels her spirit fading, tethered to the citadel in a way she cannot break. She watches her own reflection change, her eyes shadowed and her expression more severe, as though the curse itself is beginning to manifest within her. Determined to reclaim some semblance of control, Morganna resolves to use the amulet's power to channel the curse in a way that could lessen its impact on future generations. She ascends to the highest tower of the citadel, invoking a blood ritual to bind the curse within the amulet itself, creating a new legacy, one that allows her descendants to rule without bloodshed. Yet as the ritual takes hold, she feels the last remnants of her life force slipping away. She realizes, with a bittersweet clarity, that this act of sacrifice will set her kingdom free from the blood magic's grasp, even if it means her own life is bound to the citadel forever. The blood ritual at the highest tower fades, and Morganna's strength ebbs as she feels the full weight of her sacrifice settle within her. The crimson energy swirls one last time before it dissipates into the night, casting a silence over the citadel. Morganna realizes that in binding the curse within the amulet, she has effectively entwined her life force with the citadel's dark magic. Her vision blurs, and as she collapses to her knees, a profound stillness fills the air, as if the kingdom itself acknowledges her sacrifice. She senses Taryn's presence beside her, a silent guardian witnessing the end of a queen and the beginning of a new legacy. As dawn breaks, Taryn helps Morganna back to the throne room, where the court awaits, unaware of the depths of her sacrifice. Her once vibrant gaze is now shadowed, her movements slower, each step a struggle against the toll the blood magic exacts from her. Yet, as she sits upon the blood throne, the nobles and advisors feel the shift in power. Her connection to the Citadel has deepened, her presence now a formidable force that commands their respect. Morganna's final act was to set her kingdom free from the curse's brutal demands, though she knows that the cost will bind her to the throne until her last breath. Weeks pass, and the kingdom flourishes under the new rule Morganna has forged. The people praise her for ending the blood sacrifices, and whispers of her sacrifice spread through the land. Yet Morganna's strength continues to wane, and she knows her time is running out. She begins to record her story, a testament to the curse she bore and the cost of her family's legacy, so that future rulers may understand the weight of the throne they inherit. The act of writing is cathartic, each word freeing her spirit a little more. Yet the amulet remains as a stark reminder of her bond to the Citadel's blood magic. In her final days, Morganna retires to the highest tower, looking over her kingdom with a mixture of pride and sorrow. The amulet, bound now to her soul, pulses faintly against her chest, a reminder of the sacrifices she made and the legacy she chose to carry. She feels the presence of her ancestors, no longer haunting her, but watching over her in silent acknowledgement of her strength. Morganna whispers a final farewell to Taryn, entrusting her with the future of the kingdom she fought so hard to protect. Her heart beats its last, and the amulet dims as she slips into a peaceful silence, her spirit entwined with the Citadel for eternity. Years later, tales of the Crimson Queen, who broke her family's blood curse and saved her people, are told around hearths and fires across the kingdom. The Citadel remains as it was, steeped in ancient magic, but no longer demanding sacrifices. Morganna's legacy lives on, a powerful story of strength and sacrifice. Yet hidden deep within the Citadel's vaults, the Bloodstone amulet waits, a silent witness to the Queen's final act, and a reminder of the ancient pact that lies dormant ready to awaken, should future rulers seek its power.